Hari Om. We have to remember one thing, that chapter 18 is the summary of all the chapters of the Gita. So, what are the points that Krishna is going to emphasize on chapter 18, which we discussed two weeks back? The whole fundamental teachings of the Gita, the seed of it, we can say, goes back to chapter 3, verse 3. So, if you refer back to chapter 3, verse 3, there Krishna has stated very clearly that there are only two parts in this world. So that means for us to practice on the path of spirituality, Krishna has given only two parts. So once we understand these two parts very clearly, then our spiritual journey will be smooth. The first part Krishna said is karma yoga. So everyone has to start with karma yoga. Why? Because we have a lot of impurities in our mind. That is ego, pride, jealousy, greed, anger, etc. So, in order to clear these impurities first, we must proceed with the path of karma yoga. And what is karma yoga? To put it very simply, it is doing the right action and with the right attitude. So the actions must be good and pure, and the attitude is attitude of surrendering the actions to the Lord. I am an instrument in the hands of the Lord, and everything I do, I surrender to the Lord. And whatever result I get, I also thank the Lord because it is Ishvara Prasadam. That is the attitude of Karma Yoga. And once the mind is purified, then Krishna says, come to the next stage, which is Jnana Yoga, study of the scriptures. Because to study the scriptures, the words are very subtle. There are a lot of deep meaning in the words. So, Karma Yoga helps us to prepare our mind to come to Jnana Yoga. In fact, when your mind is pure, there arises a desire to study the scriptures, to know more about God, to know more about our goals in life. So then he says you come to Jnana Yoga. In Jnana Yoga, you spend time in studying the scriptures, analyzing, reflecting, doing meditation, and then you attain moksha. So the path has been very clearly stated. And the same thing again Krishna repeats in chapter 6, verse number 3. You go to chapter 6, verse number 3, page 114. There Krishna has said, Aru Rukshor Munir Yogam. Aru Ruksho means the one who is starting on the spiritual path is called a Aru Ruksho. And this person who is starting on the spiritual path, he is also called a Muni. A Muni is one means who is striving for the highest goal. He wants to merge with the Lord. So Yogam also comes into the play, into the picture. So this Munir who wants to merge with the Lord, Yogam, what should he do? Because since he's starting on the spiritual path, he has got many impurities in his mind. So Krishna says, Karma Karana Muchyate. Karanam, the cause to remove all these impurities is karma. Karma means karma yoga. So same thing he's repeating here. So a person starts on the spiritual part performing karma yoga, then what happens? The next stage in the second half of verse 3, he says, Yoga Arudasya. Yoga Arudasya means one who has already purified his mind. Now what should he do the next stage? He says, Samaha Karana Muchyate. The cause to take that person to the next level of moksha is Samaha. Samaha means nothing but study of the scriptures and meditation. So the same thing is repeated in a different way, using different terminology. So therefore, what is Krishna summarizing now in chapter 18? Exactly these two parts he's summarizing. Karma Yoga path, but only the terminology changes. Okay? Karma Yoga, he identifies as Karma yoga is known as tyaga. Tyaga means renunciation. Karma yoga also, you renounce the fruit of the action. So karma yoga equals tyaga. It is nothing, there is no difference. It's only the different wording use. Okay. And then he will explain all about karma yoga. Basically, he's going to repeat mostly what was given in the last 17 chapters. He will reinforce this point. And then he says, you come to sannyasa. What is sannyasa? Sannyasa is nothing but jnana yoga. It's one and the same. So don't get confused. Don't think sannyasa is only for those people who wear orange robes and sit in the temple or ashrams. Sannyasa is an attitude of the mind. It does not depend what clothes you wear, where you stay. It depends on the attitude of your mind. If your mind is fixed on study of the scriptures and meditation, you can be called a sannyasi. Okay? So don't get confused on these terminologies. So now what is important is, there are 6 important things for us to understand. On the path of karma yoga, leading to knowledge, there are 6 very important things for us to understand. What are the 6 things? Jnanam. What is the right knowledge that we must strive for? First is jnanam. Second is karma. What is the right action I should perform? I should understand what is right action, what is wrong action. Third, karta. Karta means I as the doer. What is my duty and responsibilities? What is my attitude as a doer? Karta. 4, buddhi. What type of right intellect should I cultivate? 5 is dṛti. Dṛti means I must have the commitment, I must have the passion, the commitment, and the fortitude to stay on this path. Because it is very easy for us to say, I know the Bhagavad Gita is important knowledge for me. I know it is important. But then a lot of challenges we face, isn't it? We face a lot of challenges in life. And then sometimes we easily give up the path of spirituality because we face so many obstacles and challenges. So dṛti is a very important quality we must have. And finally, sukham. We must strive for the right type of happiness. Okay, we must strive for the right type of happiness. Now, one thing about happiness I must say, should we make happiness our goal in life? Should we make happiness our goal in life? Think very carefully. If you say happiness is the goal of my life, what does it mean? Huh? Right now, I am happy or not happy? I am unhappy because I say happiness is the goal. Just like I say college degree is my goal, that means I don't have the degree now, right? This bungalow I want to acquire is my goal to acquire, means I don't have the property now. So when I say happiness is the goal of my life, it means I am not happy now. But what do the scriptures tell us? The scriptures say, make happiness the journey of your life. Don't make it the goal of your life. Meaning, in every second, I should remain happy by, how do I remain happy? By thanking the Lord for everything He's given me. So that attitude of gratitude must be there. We must always focus on the love we have and the devotion for Lord and whatever He has blessed us with. So, the question now is, what is it that is preventing us from being happy? What is it that prevents us from being happy now? I want to be happy now, but why am I not happy? What is the biggest obstacle to our happiness? Desires arise from where? Okay, you can say desires, you can say a lot of things, but what is the root cause of the whole thing? Where do your desires arise from? Huh? Ego. The main problem is ego. Now, what is ego? Ego is, I want everybody to behave according to what I want. My spouse should behave in a certain way. My workers should behave in a certain way. My relative and my friends, everything must be catered to my needs. If anything does not cater to my needs, I get upset. What is that? That is ego. So, ego is our biggest obstacle in life, and therefore, the remedy of ego is to surrender all our actions to the Lord. Considering myself as an instrument, I surrender all my actions to the Lord and I accept everything. Whether things go my way, whether things don't go my way, I accept it as Ishvara Prasadam. There is something in life that God has determined for me. I must follow this path. I must meet all the challenges in life. So that attitude has got to change. So all these 6 factors, jnanam, karma, karta, buddhi, dṛti, sukham, all these 6 components, Krishna says, there are 3 subdivisions. So, jnanam, there is Sāttvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Karma, there is Sāttvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. So, all these 6 components, there are 3 variations. Now, obviously, you know which one we should follow. Sāttvic, Rajasic or Tamasic? Sāttvic. We must follow the Sāttvic type and we must stay away from the Rajasic and Tamasic type. So, what has Krishna so far told us? What we have covered so far? He has told us about verse number 19. He told us about, he said, knowledge, action, and doer. So, verse 20, first he started with Sāttvic knowledge. He told us what is Sāttvic knowledge. Verse 21, he told us what is Rajasic knowledge. Verse 23, what is Tamasic knowledge. So, jnanam has been covered. Then in verse 23, he told us about action. What is Sāttvic action? 24, what is Rajasic action? 25, what is Tamasic action? Okay. Now with verse 26, we will start with the third topic, which is called karta. So he will tell us who is the Sāttvic karta, who is the Rajasic karta, and who is the Tamasic karta. Okay. So now with that, let us now go into the verse number 26. So here he is going to tell us who is the I don't know what I put here. Capsule. Okay. So verse number 26 is going to tell us first what is the nature of a Sāttvic karta. Okay. First of all, he says is Sāttvic karta is very important quality, mukta sangha. You can see in verse 26. Mukta sangha. Mukta means to be free. Sangha means attachment, free from attachment. So what do we have? What are we attached to always? Is always we are attached to the results of our action. Before we even perform the action, we want to know what is the outcome of the action. Is it favorable to us? But a Sāttvic karta does not look at the result of the action. What is it that guides a Sāttvic karta? If you don't look at the result of the action, what should be the motive for a Sāttvic person to do the action? What should be the driving force? What should be the motive? What should be the motive of a Sāttvic karta? Whether it's my duty, whether it is my work to do, I do it. I don't look at the rewards. I don't look at the praises. I don't look at the what happens after I do the action. I look at the action. If it is my duty, I perform the duty. Whether it is in the house, whether it's in your office or workplace, wherever it is, or to society, I just do that duty. Because I am not interested in the result of the action. The result of the action is going to come. Whether I like it or not, positive or negative is going to come. I cannot control that. So, a Sāttvic karta does not hanker for name, fame, praises, etc. Okay, if they come, it's okay, he accepts them, but he doesn't get carried away by that. Okay, he just looks at his duty. So now that attachment is a very strong, what you call negative quality. In Tattva Bodha, Adi Shankaracharya defines what we call vairagya. Vairagya means attachment also. So how does attachment is defined? He defines it as getting back to yourself. To get out of attachment, we must get back to ourselves. What do we mean by getting back to ourselves? Meaning, we must do all actions which are our duty, we must perform them without questioning what is the result. So just do what is expected of you. As a parent, you should know what to do. As a child, you should know what to do. As a worker in a company, you should know what to do. You have your obligatory duties, just perform them and do not avoid them. Mukta Sangha. So this Sangha is such a strong, what we call attachment, a strong quality that can take us away from the spiritual path. And that is so beautifully demonstrated by the story about Tulsidas. You all know who's Tulsidas, right? He wrote the, what you call this, Hanuman Chalisa, right? And he also wrote the Ram Charitra Manasa. So it is told about Tulsidas that one day he was so attached to his wife that one day the wife went to visit her parents, and the parents' house was across the river. So she went to visit the parents. She did not inform Tulsidas. He came back in the evening and it was raining very heavily. The waters were very turbulent of the river. So he realized that the wife couldn't come back home because of the heavy rain and the turbulent waters. So what he did, he braved the rain, got wet in the rain, swam across the turbulent waters, went to the in-laws' house, and it was late at night, it was all closed. He climbed up the window, knocked on a window, and opened the window just to meet her, because he couldn't bear to stay one day away from his wife. He was so attached to his wife. So the wife, when she saw him coming, she was shocked. And then she asked him, "Why are you here? It's heavy rain. Why did you come through the rain and through the turbulent waters? Why did you come?" He says, "I cannot live for one day without you." Now, what do you think will be the emotion of the wife when she hears like that? If the husband tells her, "I cannot live for a day without you, that's why I crossed the river, I braved the weather and all that," will the wife be happy or sad? Will she be happy or sad? Very happy, right? But Tulsidas' wife got very angry. She scolded him. She told him, "That much of attachment you have to me, if that same attachment you direct to God, you would have attained liberation." That same intense attachment, he says, don't have to me. You just turn your attachment to God and you will get liberation. So that's changed Tulsidas' mind. His whole thoughts. He realized the mistake he was making, and from that day onwards, he changed his way of life and started getting his mind attached to the Lord. And he wrote the Hanuman Chalisa and the Ram Charitra Manasa. So attachment is a very, very dangerous, what we call quality that every person must be very much careful of. So first quality of a Sāttvic karta is Mukta Sangha. Whatever it is, attachment can be in different ways. Some are attached to their money, to their power, to their fame. Whatever it is a very deadly quality. Okay. Next quality for a Sāttvic karta is Anahamvadi. Okay, you can see that in the first line of the Sanskrit text. Anahamvadi, which means non-egoistic, to always consider yourself as the doer. Never consider yourself as the doer, but consider yourself always as an instrument in the hands of the Lord. So in chapter 11 also, Krishna told Arjuna about fighting this war. He says, Nimita matram bhava. Arjuna, be an instrument in my hands. Don't consider yourself as a doer. Don't think that the success or failure of this war depends on you. Just surrender everything to me. And in fact, the most beautiful verse that we can think of to, to reflect this Sāttvic doer, the very famous verse is chapter 2, verse 47. Do you remember that verse? It's a very famous verse in the Gita, chapter 2, verse 47. That is the whole definition of Karma Yoga. If you can memorize that one verse and follow that instructions, there are 4 instructions given there. The first instruction is Karma eva adhikaraste. Your right is to perform action, meaning whatever is your duty, you do. That is your right. So that is your responsibility, that is your free will. You must take up all your duties and don't run away. So challenging duties you must do, pleasant duties also you do, unpleasant also you must do. Second instruction, ma paleshu kadachana. The fruit is not your right. Meaning, you cannot determine the outcome of your action. Whether the action, the result is going to be favorable or unfavorable does not lie in your hands. There are so many factors that can affect the result of your action. So don't be obsessed with the results. Surrender the results to the Lord. Accept whatever comes. Second instruction. Third instruction, what he says, ma paleshu kadachana, ma karma phala hetur bur. Don't think that you can, what you call, control the outcome of your actions. So don't let the result determine whether you will perform the action or not. Many times before we perform the action, first we see what is the result. If the result is favorable, I perform the action. But Krishna says, don't look at the result to decide whether you should do the action. And finally, he says, the last instruction, ma paleshu kadachana, ma karma pala hetur bur, ma te sangostya karmani. Don't let yourself succumb to inaction. That means we think that we give up our actions. That also is wrong. There is a reason we should take up and perform all our duties. So this chapter 2, verse 47 is the very crux of that Karma Yoga. So here also he says, anahamvadi, to give up all the attitude that I am the doer. So when you say I am the doer, what is the most important thing is that I comes in, right? Right? If you keep on saying I, what does it lead to? If you say I am the doer, I did this, I helped that person, I gave the donation here, charity here. When you say I, what does it lead to? What does I stand for? I stands for illness, isn't it? What is this illness? When you have that ego and you claim everything that I leads to illness. What is that illness? That illness is all the negative qualities in your mind get stronger. Greed, anger, jealousy, pride, envy, all these get more and more stronger. And that's the illness of your mind. And that is what causes the turbulence of your mind, that you will never get peace of mind. So we have to be very careful always about the ego, and the only way is to then consider yourself as an instrument in the hands of the Lord. Next quality of a Sāttvic doer is dṛti utsaha samanvita. Dṛti utsaha samanvita, second line of verse 26. Dṛti means fortitude, commitment. Samanvita means you must be endowed with fortitude. And the other quality, utsaha, means enthusiasm. So just because we don't, we don't focus on the fruit of our action, doesn't mean you just do your action with what you call indifference. So he says you must do it with commitment, do it with enthusiasm. Take up all your actions with enthusiasm and commitment. And that's a very important quality. So whenever we do our actions, our duty, as I said, the outcome you cannot decide, but the outcome is decided by your prarabdha karmas. What are your prarabdha karmas? Do you remember? What are prarabdha karmas? Remember we discussed about prarabdha karmas? What are they? Prarabdha karmas are the results of your past actions, which are taking fruit now in this present life. So when you perform an action, the result is also determined by the prarabdha karmas, which you cannot control, right? And there is a famous story again from Ramayana. When Lord Rama was told by his father that tomorrow you're going to be crowned the king of Ayodhya. So, okay, very good. But few hours later, he was told the news that tomorrow you're going to be banished for 14 years. Suddenly you're going to be crowned the king. Suddenly he was told that you're going to be banished to the forest for 14 years. So everybody around him was crying. Everybody was sad. They said, how are we going to stay away from Rama for 14 years? He's going to stay away from us. His parents, his mother, his father could not accept it. But Rama said one thing. He was the one who's going to suffer the most, being banished for 14 years away from the palace. But he told everybody one simple line. Durlabha hi sada sukham. Sada, to be always sukham, to be always happy, is durlabha. It means it is impossible. Nobody in this life can say, my whole life from birth to death has been nothing but happiness. So he said, durlabha hi sada sukham. And then he talked about prarabdha karma. He says, prarabdha karma plays in everybody's life. We think tomorrow we are going to do something great, we are going to receive an award, and tomorrow that doesn't happen because of prarabdha karmas. And then Lord Rama says, so how he turns everything into a positive attitude. He says, although I'm going to be banished for 14 years in the forest, but in the forest I will meet so many sages and saints, and I will learn the spiritual knowledge from them. So 14 years, what a great opportunity for me to absorb the spiritual knowledge. So he looked at it in a positive way. So that is what is this quality, dṛti utsaha samanvita. A Sāttvic karta must be endowed with enthusiasm and commitment and fortitude. Cannot give up halfway. We have to carry on our spiritual journey. Next quality of a Sāttvic karta he gives here, siddhi, asiddhi, nirvikaraha. Nirvikaraha means to be unaffected by siddhi is success, asiddhi is failure. So these are only two types of examples that are the opposite pairs. But in our life, many kinds of opposite things can happen. Sometimes there's profit, sometimes there's loss, sometimes there's sickness, sometimes there's good health, sometimes victory, sometimes defeat. So there are many pairs of opposites. Okay. Now, again, a Sāttvic karta has got to be very careful about this, because sometimes so much of success comes in. Is a lot of success good? Supposing everything you do is successful, is so much of success good also? What happens when you have so much of success? You can read about these famous film stars and what you call singers. They get so much of success, they rise. And then what happens to them when they are at the peak of their success? What happens to all of them? All of them get affected when they are at the peak of their success. People are chasing them, money is coming in left and right, fans are getting crazy about them. Everywhere they go, people are appreciating them. What happens to these people? Arrogance sets in, pride sets in. And then what happens when the downfall comes? Because tomorrow there will be a better actor, there will be a better singer. You cannot stay on top forever. When the downfall comes, they cannot accept it. So success also, you have to learn how to handle, not to get carried away. Failure also you got to handle, not to get depressed. And again, the only way a devotee of Lord understands that whatever success comes, it is thanks to the Lord. Whatever failure comes, the Lord is trying to teach me some lesson from this failure. So through the success and through the failure, we have to remain samaha, that means equal-minded. We cannot get carried away by either success or failure also. So Krishna sums this up by saying, all these qualities, if a person has, then that is called a Sāttvic karta. So all the qualities which are mentioned in verse number 26. Okay. So now we come to the next verse, which is going to tell us about Rajasic karmas. Now, there is a similarity between a Sāttvic karta and a Rajasic karta. What is that? Both are hardworking. Sāttvic karta is also hardworking. Rajasic karta also is hardworking. But what is the difference? And both have willpower. Sāttvic karta also has willpower. Rajasic karta also has willpower. He has a lot of determination to make money, fame, property, all that. Both are determined. But what is the difference? What is the attitude? What is the difference in attitude? Yes. Sorry, I can't hear you. Who doesn't like what? Is it okay if you're someone who doesn't like if people praise you? Doesn't like if people praise you? Why? I mean, why would you not? You see, can you stop people from praising you? Whether you like it or don't like it, if you do something very good, people have the tendency to praise you. Now, whether it is genuine praise or not genuine praise, but they can praise you. Now, that is external. But how you handle it internally, that is more important. So you cannot control the external factors. People may praise you today, the same person may even insult you tomorrow also, right? You cannot control that factor. But what you can control is what is your internal response to that. So how you handle praises, how you handle criticism, that is a mark of a spiritual person. How does he or she handles it? So, is that answer your question? Okay. Now we come back to what's the difference between a Sāttvic and a Rajasic karta. Sāttvic karta does his actions for surrendering to God and for the welfare of others. Whereas a Rajasic karta does actions for only his selfish benefit. He doesn't care what happens to others, and he doesn't even have to surrender to God because he has got the ego. He thinks, I did everything. There is nothing for God here. Everything has been done by me. So, Sāttvic and Rajasic karta have the willpower. They are both hardworking, but one attitude is selfless, one attitude is selfish also. Okay. And how do they measure their success? Sāttvic karta measures his success by peace of mind, by inner happiness. A Rajasic karta measures his happiness by my bank balance, by how many properties I have, how many awards I've received and all that. Those are more important. So now Krishna is describing the Rajasic karta. Okay, who is the Rajasic karta? He says the Rajasic doer has ragi. Ragi again means attachment, strong passion. So again, if we look at this attachment or passion, ragi, where does it come from? And if we look at the case of Duryodhan, it's very interesting. In Mahabharata, Krishna asked Duryodhan, why do you keep doing all these wrong things? You keep on doing a lot of adharmic things. Don't you know what is dharma, what is adharma? And Duryodhan gives a very classic, beautiful reply. He says, Janami dharmam nachame pravrti. I know what is dharma, Krishna, don't try to teach me. Everybody knows what is right or wrong. So Duryodhan is saying, Janami dharmam nachame pravrti. I know what is dharma, Krishna, don't try to tell me what is right. I know what is right, but my problem is What is right, I don't like to do. I am allergic to doing right things. Anything right, I don't want to do. At the same time, Janami papam nacha me nivritti. I know what is papam, I know what is wrong, but I'm so attracted to it. I want to do all the wrong things. And Duryodhan keeps on doing one mistake after another mistake. He tries to murder his cousins, he tries to cheat them out of the kingdom, he exiles them, and he drives everybody to war. He knows it is wrong, but he does it. Now, the same question is asked by Arjuna in chapter 3, verse 36. You go back to chapter 3, verse 36. To find the answer, why we know what is wrong, but we keep on doing that. We keep on doing the wrong things. So, in chapter 3, verse 36, Arjuna asked the Lord the same question. Ata kena prayukto yam papam charati purusha anicham api varshneya balat iva niyojita. O Krishna, by what is one impelled to do wrong acts, even unwillingly or as if engaged by force? You know this is wrong, but you want to do it as though there is some force that is pushing you to do the wrong thing. And what does Krishna reply him? It is Rajoguna. It is that Rajas quality in you that drives you to do the wrong things. It is pushing you to do the wrong things. And where does this Rajas come from? This Sāttvic, Rajasic, Tamasic quality is in all of us. But where does this Rajas become? How does this Rajas become strong in a person like Duryodhan? We have to understand the more and more wrong actions we keep on doing. In the beginning, we may only do small wrong actions, but the more and more we keep on doing and we get the satisfaction, all these Rajasic qualities get stronger in us. Anger gets stronger, greed gets stronger, lust gets stronger, envy gets stronger. So we have to watch our actions. If we keep on doing those actions, we will make all these qualities stronger. And one point will come when we cannot control those emotions anymore. We will just follow these negative emotions. So Krishna identifies Rajas in chapter 3 as the greatest problem in all our lives. We have to be very careful. You see, okay, it's very easy sometimes to blame everything on prarabdha karma. But don't forget one thing. You have one more very important weapon in your hands. Buddhi, Buddhi also can be three types, which Krishna is going to tell us. You can have Sāttvic, Rajasic, Tamasic Buddhi. But one more very important weapon you have in your hands. You remember 2 weeks ago, I told you one very beautiful quotation from Shakespeare. You remember that? That gives us the answer. The fault lies not in our stars, but in ourselves. Meaning what? Self effort we have. Human beings are the only creation of the Lord who have this self effort to change their lives. So, prarabdha is there. Yes, we will face prarabdha, but we cannot be overcome by prarabdha. We must know how to overcome prarabdha. So, self effort is a choice. That's why Krishna said in chapter 2, verse 47, Karman eva adhikaraste. Your right is to perform action. Meaning, I have free will. I can do what I want. And because the freedom has been given to you to act, you must know how to do the right action. You must know how to choose wisely. That's why the Buddhi says three types: Sāttvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. If you have a Rajasic and Tamasic Buddhi, you analyze things the wrong way and you do the wrong actions. So we'll come to that Sāttvic Buddhi later. Okay. So, yeah. Mm. Unintentionally that you're doing wrong. Right. Right. Ah. Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Goes back to prarabdha again. Yeah, correct. Mm. Oh, okay. So that's why he's on the bed of arrows. Die. So he's paying back for it. Yeah. Unintentionally. Yeah. But then you see, the question is, the action has been done. Action has been done, and there is always a repercussion. But we must not forget free will. Because if we just accept prarabdha, then we are becoming very tamasic. My stars are like that. I can't do anything. Whatever I do, also my stars are against me. No, you have free will. If you don't put free will into action, then you will always suffer with that prarabdha karmas. So, what is vairagya defined by Shankara in Tattva Bodha? Iha swarga bhogeshu ichha rahityam. Rahityam means absence of desire, not only now, that means not only in the present, I want to enjoy all these things, but he says also in Swarga Loka, I want to go to heaven also and enjoy. So, Vairagya is a very strong sense of attachment. And this, what we call the Rajasic person, is a Ragi. So, Ragi is Vairagya, which comes from the Rajasic Gunas. What else is a Rajasic Karta? Okay. The second quality of a Rajasic Karta is Karma Phala Prepshu. So, karma, is action. Phala is the fruit of your action. Prepshu means desirous of the fruits of the action. That means this person only thinks first, what is the result? And then only I perform the action. If there is no benefit for me, I don't perform the actions. So, that is a quality of a Rajasic Karta. Karma Phala Prepshu. And the third quality Krishna gives here is Lubda. Lubda means greed. And greed, according to our scriptures, whenever you have desires, there can be two possible outcomes. Whatever desires you have, if you keep on fulfilling all your desires, that leads to greed. You remember the famous line in Mahabharata where it is said that desires are like feeding ghee into the fire. The more ghee you put into the fire, fire needs ghee to survive. Your desires also, you keep on satisfying them. Just like you put ghee in the fire gets stronger and stronger. Your desires also get stronger and stronger, which will lead to greed. So, one outcome of desires is you keep satisfying your desires, it leads to greed. Second outcome of desires is if your desires are interrupted, it leads to anger. So, whichever way you look at it, desires are very, very dangerous on the spiritual path. Too many desires satisfied, greed. Desires unsatisfied lead to anger, what you call disappointment, etc. So here lubda means greed. And Gandhi, in fact, said a very beautiful, what you call, word regarding this. There is enough in this world to satisfy a man's need, but not his greed. So your basic needs can be satisfied in this world: food, water, shelter, clothing. But greed can never be satisfied. There is no end to it also. And who more than who suffered because of greed? Again, we go back to see all these stories which we have come from the Mahabharata, Ramayana. They are so beautiful because they explain to us the what is the destructive nature of all these negative qualities. And if you look at Ramayana, the one who suffered the most was Ravana. And why did he suffer? Actually, Ravana was not a bad person. His father, in fact, was a sage. The father was called Vishrava. He was a sage. So, Raman actually was a very intelligent, ambitious person, and he knew the Vedas. He was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. But what caused his problem? The more and more power he got, that caused him to overpower his good qualities. So greed, anger, ego, they overpower our good qualities, and he got carried away. And it is said that he even challenged Indra. Who is Indra? The king of the Devas. And he defeated Indra, and that made him even more proud. So that's why we have to watch all these negative qualities, because no matter how much knowledge we have, no matter how what a spiritual person we are, we can also get very easily carried away by this negative. In fact, even spiritual people also can get arrogant, right? I got so many disciples, I've opened so many ashrams, people adore me, people bow down to me. Even that also you can get carried away. So you have to watch all these negative qualities. She was a demoness. Okay, I didn't know that. Saint. So you see again, a product of a demon and a saint, and the person turns out first a saint and then turns out to become a demon also again. Okay. So now the next quality here he is given is himsa atmakaha. Himsa atmakaha, this rajasic karta, atmakaha means his nature is himsa. It leads to violent tendencies. Why does this person give in to violent tendencies? Because, as I explained earlier, the more desires you have interrupted, definitely you cannot satisfy all your desires. There will be many desires you cannot satisfy, and that will lead to himsa or violence. And this violence can be at three stages. Violence can be in the mind, you can cultivate a lot of violent thoughts. Violence can be in your what we call at the word level, speech level, whereby you shout a lot of wrong words and hurt people. And the worst form of violence, of course, is that what you do with your physical body, where you hit people or you what we call harm people with your hands or whatever it is, weapons. So himsa atmaka, this person is very prone to violence. Why? Again, because of his many desires, selfish desires. And another quality that Krishna gives here is asuchi. Suchi means clean. Asuchi means unclean. So here we are not talking about physical dirt, we are talking about mental dirt. What is mental impurity? Mental impurity is giving in to unvirtuous thoughts like cheating, corruption, etc. So wrong thoughts are always in the mind of a Rajasic person. If I can't get things in a legitimate way, I'll find a illegitimate way how to get things. So this is where cheating, corruption, etc. comes in. Third, the next quality of a Rajasic karta is harsha, sokha, anvitaha. So what is harsha? Harsha is joy. Shokha is sorrow. So anvitaha means one who is subject to joy and sorrow. Now, what it means here is this. This person easily gets carried away with joy because he has a lot of success in life. He gets carried away, which leads to arrogance. And at the same time, he's so much affected by anything that doesn't go his way. So negative things, he falls into depression, anger, frustration. So this person is one who is subject to a lot of violent mood swings. Can be suddenly happy, can be suddenly get some bad news, he can fall into depression. He cannot control his mind because of all the desires. He is not a master of his mind. So all these qualities, Krishna says, if a person has all these qualities, parikirtita is declared to be a Rajasic karta, a Rajasic doer, who cannot control his mind, cannot control his emotions. Verse 28, now he talks about a Tamasic karta. Who is a Tamasic karta? Now, here Tamasic karta, he describes 8 qualities of a Tamasic karta. First of all, let us understand that when we talk about a Tamasic karta, he is neither interested in material growth, neither is he interested in spiritual growth. Sāttvic karta is interested in spiritual growth. Rajasic karta is interested in material growth, but a tamasic karta is not interested in either of this. So, what are his qualities? The first quality that Krishna says here is ayuktaha. Ayuktaha means unsteady person. Okay. So, what do you mean by unsteady? You see, a Sāttvic karta is endowed with the right knowledge, so his clarity of mind, his thinking is very clear. He knows what to do, knows what not to do. He is very clear on the goal of life. But a tamasic karta, because he has no knowledge, he doesn't want to listen to people, he's not interested in any knowledge. So, what does he do? He just follows his whims and fancies. What he feels like doing, he does. And what does a tamasic person like the most? The two most important things, eating and sleeping. So all his actions we guided by this, how to avoid minimal work, maximum sleeping and eating. Okay, just follows his desires. So that is the first quality of a tamasic karta. Second quality is prakta, which is unrefined person. His unrefined intellect, again due to ignorance, not interested in knowledge, this person has got an unrefined conduct. His culture is very rude. He has no respect for elders, no respect for gurus. He has got a very sarcastic and very uncultured type of actions. That is a tamasic karta. Third quality is stabda. Stabda means stubborn. He is not willing to listen to anybody for advice. So he thinks only he is right. So one of the qualities is stubborn. And this person, therefore, is very difficult to get him to change, because you'll be wasting your time telling him how to change his life, but he's not interested. Right? You tell these people, come for Gita class, they're not interested because they don't think there's any benefit. They only want to know how to, if you invite them to a cafe, they will come. Invite them to a restaurant, they will come. Invite them to temple, they don't want to come. So these people are never going to change. So how are they going to change in their life, you may ask? How is this tamasic person, if he's so stubborn, doesn't want to listen to any advice, how is he going to change? Is he going to change? So the only way is, if there is some good punyam in his life, hopefully when that punyam fructifies, some right person will come into his life and maybe change his what you call way of thinking. So that's how we have seen how the greatest sinner, who was that Ratnakara. You know who's Ratnakara? Valmiki. Valmiki is a saint, but before he became a saint, he was a what you call a bandit, a Ratnakara. And Narad came into his life and changed his whole life until he became a pious person. So sometimes in life, there's some punyam that works for you, and that tamasic person will change. So stabdaha. Next quality is sataha, which means he is very crooked and deceitful. Why is he crooked and deceitful? He is very good at finding excuses, not how to do work, how to escape from work. So he has got all kinds of means and excuses how to avoid work. So that's why he's known as sataha, deceitful or crooked. Next quality is naiskritikaha. He's a wicked person. Now, wicked in what sense? He does irresponsible actions because he wants to quickly finish the work or he wants to avoid the work. He is a very irresponsible person, and therefore he can cause harm to himself and also to others also. That is a tamasic karta. Okay. Again, a difference between rajasic karta and tamasic karta. Rajasic person causes harm and destruction to himself, but driven out of greed. Tamasic person also causes harm and destruction to himself and others, but he is driven out of total ignorance. That is the difference. Both Rajasic and Tamasic also cause harm and destruction. One is driven by greed, the other is driven by ignorance. Okay. And that's why a Rajasic person can still change, but it's very difficult to convince a Tamasic person to change. Next quality given is alasaha, which means a lazy person, not interested in anything, avoiding work and all his duties and responsibilities. And these are the people who end up in vices like gambling, alcoholism, drug taking, etc. And if they ever put in any effort, it's only towards these wiseful activities. Another quality of a tamasic person, you may all have encountered this, is they are very clever at borrowing money, right? Because since they don't work, they need to support themselves. They are the type of people who like to borrow money from friends and relatives. And that is how they live. And that is one thing that they are very clever. They know how to tell stories, how to get money out of you. But when time comes to pay back, they also clever how to avoid you to pay back money also. So a tamasic person is what we call alasa, lazy. See? What are the other qualities of a tamasic person? Visadi. Visadi means they always have a negative attitude in life, very gloomy, pessimistic attitude. And these are the people who say, look at my stars are very bad, I cannot do anything. So no matter what I do, what effort I put, it will never work. So they have a very negative and pessimistic attitude of life. And the next quality is called Dirgha Sutri. See, so many qualities of a tamasic person. Sāttvic person, karta, very few qualities. Tamasic person, so many qualities there are. So we have to be very careful about this. Dirgha Sutri means procrastinating nature. Always trying to put off work as much as he can. So, interestingly, the word procrastinator, what does it start with? What are the first three letters of a procrastinator? PRO, pro. That means what? He's very professional at avoiding work, procrastinating work. The interesting thing about his word procrastinator, pro means forward. Crustiness means tomorrow. So whatever I can do today, I postpone it tomorrow. Right? I never want to do what should be done now, I postpone it to tomorrow. So that is the nature of a tamasic person. And all these negative attitudes, that's why we have to be very careful about all these negative attitudes. And there's a short story I read, which I want to share with you all about this, what we call negative attitudes that we have. It's a story about a rich man who had eye problems. Okay, a rich man, he had eye problems. So he went to see many specialists. Some gave him drops to put in the eye. Some did minor surgery on him. Some gave him medication to take. But his problem didn't go away. So he heard about a great Swamiji who could cure ailments. And he went to see this person. And the Swamiji told him, I can cure you, but the next 6 months, you must only look at green things. 6 months, you only see green, you will be cured. So he went back home. He called his servants, gave them money, said, you go to town, buy all the green paint you can. You come back home, you paint my whole bungalow green. Outside you paint green, inside paint green, furniture paint green, kitchen, everything you paint green. You also paint yourself green, your uniform also green. They say, why? He said, because the Swamiji told me, 6 months, if I look at only green things, I will be cured of my eye problem. So they did that. They went to town, bought all the green paint, painted everything green. And he sat in the house looking at all the green things. 1 month passed by, 2 months passed by. Swamiji came to visit to find out how this fellow is doing. And when he came, he was shocked to see the whole house was painted green. He went inside, everything painted green. Met the servants, they also painted green. And then he asked them, why are you doing all this? Why do you go and paint everything green? They said, Swamiji, why are you telling us? You are the one told our boss, 6 months only look at green things, so we painted everything green. He said, you fools, instead of buying so much of green paint and painting everything green, why didn't you buy for your master a pair of glasses with green lens? And then he'll look at everything as green. So what is the moral of the story? See, normally we hear the story, we like the story, we forget the moral of the story. What is the moral of the story here? Which ties back to this verse. Do you understand the moral of the story? Forget the story. Think of the moral of the story. Sorry? So to put it very simply, you have to divinize your mind and then look at the world. If your mind is negative, when you look at the world, everything is negative. If your mind is positive, when you look at the world, everything is positive. And this is what was also told in chapter 11 of the Gita. If you remember, chapter 11 is called Vishwarupa Darshanam. What is Vishwarupa Darshanam? Darshanam means to have a vision of the Lord, the Rupam of the Lord, as Vishwa. Vishwa means the whole world. That means this devotee has come to such a stage whereby anything he sees, everywhere he sees, he can only see the presence of the Lord. So how was this Vishwarupa Darshanam? Arjuna had this Darshanam because Lord gave him what we call Divya Drishti. Drishti means vision. Divya means divine vision. What is divine vision? Many people think wrongly that Lord gave Divya Drishti to Arjuna by putting one third eye. So you will see some pictures. Arjuna has got a third eye and he's seeing the whole world. But what this Divya Drishti is, Krishna removed all the impurities from Arjuna's mind. Greed, anger, ego, jealousy, everything. When the devotee's mind becomes pure, when he looks at everything, he can only realize divinity everywhere. So for us also to have this Divya Drishti, first we have to purify our mind. Until we remove all these negative attitudes, whenever we look at the world, we'll only see all negative things. So that Divya Drishti also is very important for us to cultivate. How can we cultivate Divya Drishti? Again, through the path of Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. Then whatever we look at, everything is divine to us. So here the tamasic nature, Krishna describes in verse number 28, who's the tamasic karta. We will come back next week and carry on with verse number 29 onwards. Okay, we end with a prayer. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Thank you.